For the children in eastern Kenya's Dadaab camp, which houses 235,000 mostly Somali refugees, it's time for a splash-about. Days of storms and showers have turned their dirt football field into a lake. But their play might be life-threatening, with a high risk of cholera in the water that has also flooded their fragile homes. Hassan Yusuf's blind and bedridden mother is forced to lay in a room that's submerged in water.
I wander around hoping to find a dry place to settle.
A few kilometres away, Mokhtar Dahari and his friends have been building a dam to try and protect their huts. His greatest fear is the stagnant water becoming contaminated.
When it rains, there's flooding. The water then mixes with water from the latrines, and that carries diseases. And if there's an emergency, sick people can't access the health centre.
The risk of malaria is on the rise, but the greatest danger is cholera, with thousands affected during the rainy season. Drought in the usually arid desert is familiar to these Dadaab refugees, but the rain doesn't bring any relief.
When there is drought, it's also terrible. The needs for food are high up there. When it is raining, it's also terrible. So you can say the situation we find ourselves in Dadaab is one which we are doomed if it doesn't rain. We are again doomed when it rains.
According to UNICEF, 14 people died the last time the floods were this severe, in late 2015. Aid operations slow down as roads become inaccessible, increasing the risks even further. And with a lack of drainage systems and no nearby river, it can be several weeks before the water returns to a normal level.
Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya's northeastern province. Home to 300,000 people, it was set up by the UN in the early 90s for those fleeing civil war in neighboring Somalia. But 3 decades on, the continuing cycle of conflict and the worsening impact of climate change in the Horn of Africa mean that more and more people are still arriving each day. And the majority never leave. With countries across the world adopting tougher migration policies, I wanted to speak to those making the journey here and those who are stuck in what is considered one of the world's largest open prisons. Few symbolize the never-ending frustration of Dadaab more than Ade. She arrived here with her husband Shuaib in 1992 after fleeing the war in Somalia with their 2 daughters. One fell ill and died, but the other, Hawa, now has a family of her own. They had another 3 children in the camp, but only one, Abdirazak, survived. Born a refugee, Dadaab is all he's ever known. Shuaib is in his 80s. While his family hope to leave one day, he has decided to stay behind. Some people in the camp rely on money sent by family and relatives who make it out, something Shuaib hopes for. But while the father has accepted life in Dadaab, his son struggles to deal with its emptiness. At 27 years old, Abdirazak is at a crossroads. He must now choose whether to leave his elderly parents in search of a better life, like many of his friends have done already. With a husband and 7 children, leaving isn't an option for Hawa. For her brother, though, now the man of the family, the pressure to support his parents is growing. For refugees seeking to leave, the risk of dying at sea is always in their minds. The UN predicts 2 million people will be in need of resettlements this year globally. But last year, less than 500 left Dadaab via the official route. And many of the young people I spoke to told me they would take their chances with their small boats instead. And with fewer leaving than arriving, there is a growing number of mouths to feed. The monthly UN food distribution has been postponed due to flooded roads. But a charity has arranged for maize and cooking oil to be handed out. Only 700 families can be fed, and the atmosphere becomes tense. Only those who are quick enough secure the rations. For the families who go without, it's the children who are usually first to suffer the consequences.
This child has severe malnutrition with edema. Edema is swelling of the body due to malnutrition.
Médecins Sans Frontières say they treated over 12,000 infants last year, a third more than the year before.
So we realized 8% of all children in the camp have some form of malnutrition.
Those in most urgent need of help are often the new arrivals, like 20-year-old Gurai. Her neighbor Ibrahim has been looking after her. Drought forced her to leave the family farm in Somalia with her 2-year-old daughter, while her husband raises enough money to follow. She is one of the growing number displaced by climate change. Coming here was a last resort to keep their child alive. But Gurai tells me she became sick and died the day before yesterday. Gurai shows me where she buried her daughter, just a few meters away from her tent. Her name was Zainab. The problems that forced her mother to seek refuge in Dadaab aren't going away. For those here, trapped in a situation often worse than what they left behind, hopes now rest with an international community that seems less and less able or willing to find solutions.